Welcome to this powerful video. Today, you're going to learn something very few people in the world ever learn. The secret to understanding others without asking a single question. To see their emotions before they say a word. To know when someone is lying, just by watching how they move, speak, or avoid your eyes. This is the ability to read people like a book. And it's not magic. It's not manipulation. It's not guessing. It's psychology. It's observation. And it's one of the most powerful skills a human being can ever develop. This video is based on the international bestseller, Read People Like a Book by Patrick King, and it will completely change how you see people. In fact, once you finish this video, you won't look at your boss, your friend, your partner, your family, or even strangers on the street the same way again. Because their true thoughts, their emotions, their intentions, you'll finally be able to see them clearly. Most people walk through life blind. They hear words and believe them. They ignore body language. They miss the clues. They get lied to, used, manipulated, rejected. They say, but he said he loved me. They say, she said everything was fine. But what if you could see what's behind the words? What if you could catch the signals? What if you could tell with quiet confidence? He's nervous. She's hiding something. They're not telling the whole truth. This person's insecure but pretending to be strong. That one is real. That one is honest. Wouldn't that change everything? That's the power of this book, and that's what you'll learn today. In this video, you'll learn how to read people's body language, how to spot openness, defensiveness, suspicion, nervousness, confidence, how to detect lies instantly, how to understand someone's real emotion, even when they're trying to hide it. How to develop the most underrated superpower on Earth, observation. And remember this video is not just about psychology. It will also improve your English. You'll hear clear, real examples. You'll understand emotional vocabulary. You'll learn how to describe behavior in English, like a professional. So whether you want to become a better communicator, a better listener, a better partner, or just someone who's harder to fool, stay with me, because we're just getting started. Now let's begin your transformation. Chapter 1. Words lie, but behavior doesn't. Let's begin with the first and most important truth of this entire book. People can lie with words, but they can't lie with behavior. We live in a world where people are trained to say the right thing even when they don't mean it. They say, I'm fine, but they're not. They say, I trust you, but their arms are crossed and their face is tight. They say, this deal is great for you, but they're avoiding eye contact, checking their phone, leaning away. Words are a tool, and tools can be used to hide the truth. But behavior, posture, eyes, tone, space, timing, movement, these are hard to fake because they come from the subconscious mind. They're automatic. And that's why learning to read behavior is 100 times more powerful than memorizing phrases. Imagine this. A manager is sitting in a meeting. He says to his team member, don't worry, your job is completely safe. He's smiling, but his body is rigid. His feet are pointed toward the door. His shoulders are tight. He's not blinking. He says, completely safe, but his tone is flat and cold. Your ears hear, you're safe. But your eyes, your instincts, they whisper, he's already decided to fire you. This is the difference between people who get blindsided in life and people who see the truth before it explodes. Here's the science. Your words come from your thinking brain, prefrontal cortex. You control them. But your body language, voice tone, facial reactions come from your emotional brain, limbic system. You don't control them. That's why someone can say, "I'm not mad," but their jaw is clenched, voice is sharp, and their body is stiff. You must learn to trust the body more than the mouth. If you're just starting, here's what to observe. First, arms. Crossed equals protection. Open equals comfort. Feet. Pointing away equals want to escape. Shoulders. Tight equals tension or lying. Eye contact. Too much equals forced. Too little equals hiding something. Speech speed. Fast equals anxiety. Slow equals control or thinking. Tone. High equals uncertainty. Low and calm equals confidence. Watch how the body and words match, or don't match. If someone says, "I love it here," but their body is stiff, they're not smiling, and they're fidgeting. That's not truth. That's performance. Once you understand that people are constantly communicating with their body, the world opens up. You'll see who's insecure in a job interview. You'll sense who's hiding fear on a date. You'll catch lies before they grow into betrayal. You'll feel powerful in silence, because while others talk, you'll be watching. And trust me, those who observe own the room. Words are easy to fake. Behavior is hard to hide. If you want to read people like a book, stop listening so much and start watching. Chapter 2. First impressions are silent, but loud. Let's be honest. Most people don't even know how fast their brain judges someone. It happens in less than 7 seconds, sometimes in less than 1 second. And once that impression is made, it's very hard to change. That's why this chapter is about your first superpower, the ability to see beyond first impressions and control the first impression you give too. Your brain is wired for survival. When you meet someone for the first time, your mind instantly asks, "Is this person safe? Can I trust them? Are they a threat, or can I relax? Do they like me, or are they judging me?" And guess what? They're thinking the same about you. This judgment happens before a word is spoken, and it's based on posture, facial expression, eye movement, clothing, energy, body movement, how they enter the room. If you want to read people like a book, train your eye to observe these fast signals in the first moments. Openness versus defensiveness. Open posture equals arms relaxed, palms visible, shoulders down. Defensive posture equals arms crossed, one shoulder raised, hands hidden. Example. A girl walks into a party with her arms behind her back, chest forward, and head high. She looks around confidently. Her energy says, "I'm open. I'm not afraid." Another person enters with hunched shoulders, arms folded tightly, and fast steps toward the corner of the room. Their body says, "I don't want to be seen." You didn't need to hear a word. You already read them. Facial expression plus eye behavior. Warm eye contact plus small smile equals friendly, safe. Staring with no emotion equals dominance, suspicion. Avoiding eye contact completely equals fear, discomfort. Example. A hiring manager looks you straight in the eye, nods slightly, and smiles gently. He's giving you a signal of welcome. Another interviewer looks at your resume the entire time and avoids looking at you directly. They're unsure, maybe even not impressed. This tells you how they see you before they speak. Physical space and entry movement. Do they walk in with relaxed strides or fast, nervous steps? Do they claim space or shrink into it? Do they pause, look around, or rush to escape? Imagine. Someone enters a room slowly, shoulders back, and scans the room with a relaxed face. That person is confident. Another enters quickly, walks fast, clutches their phone tightly, and heads for the back of the room. That's anxiety trying to disappear. Once you learn to read first impressions, you'll understand people's inner states without asking. You'll detect insecurity hiding behind fake confidence. You'll see when someone's pretending to be happy but is actually broken inside. You'll stop being manipulated by charm, performance, or forced smiles. Because now you don't just look at someone. You read them. First impressions happen fast and reveal a lot. Don't just hear how someone introduces themselves. Watch how they arrive, because their energy speaks louder than their words. Now let's go deeper. What if you could make accurate judgments in just 2 seconds, based on tiny, subtle behaviors? That's the next level. And that's what Chapter 3 is about. Chapter 3. Thin Slicing. How to read people instantly. This is where the book becomes truly mind-blowing. There's a concept in psychology called thin slicing. It means making fast, accurate decisions based on very small slices of information. In other words, reading someone within seconds of meeting them, based on a single gesture, a single tone, a single look, a micro-reaction on their face, or even the way they answer one simple question. Your brain has been learning for years, watching, observing, absorbing patterns. You can now make incredibly fast decisions about someone's honesty, confidence, nervousness, threat level, interest or boredom, insecurity or dominance, all without conscious thought, but only if you train yourself to trust what you see and interpret it correctly. Job interview. Example, you ask the candidate, "Tell me about a time you failed." Candidate A pauses too long, looks to the left, says, "I'm not sure. I've never really failed." Fake smile, voice high-pitched. Candidate B smiles slightly, nods thoughtfully, says, "Yeah, in my first job, I missed a deadline because I was afraid to ask for help." Who's more trustworthy? Even though it was one question, the first person revealed defensiveness, insecurity, possibly dishonesty, all within 10 seconds. Relationship example. You ask someone on a date, "Do you want to meet again?" They say, "Sure." But their face tightens, they look away, and their voice drops. Your logic hears "sure," but your instincts say, "They're done with me." That's thin slicing, and it's almost always correct. If you're emotional, angry, desperate, or afraid, your judgment is clouded. But when you're calm and observant, when you're silent and present, you will start seeing people with scary accuracy. You'll notice a fake smile just by how the eyes don't crinkle, a lie just by how they hesitate before answering, a manipulator just by how they dominate a conversation while avoiding vulnerability. It feels like a superpower, but it's not magic, it's practice. Thin slicing is used by FBI agents, psychologists, high-stakes negotiators, master salespeople, detectives, and now, you. Because once you start noticing the small details, the truth is impossible to hide. You won't fall for fake people anymore. You'll avoid bad deals, bad friendships, bad relationships. You'll protect your energy, your goals, and your heart. Because you don't need to wait for someone to show their true colors later. You'll see them in the first minute. Pay attention to the small signs, a look, a pause, a twitch, a fake smile. The truth is not always spoken, but it's always shown. If you want to read people like a book, train yourself to observe. Faster. Chapter 4. The body tells the real story. Here's a truth you must remember forever. The body leaks the truth. Always. Even when the mouth tries to hide it. You can wear a fake smile. You can say, "I'm confident." You can lie, charm, flatter, or deny. But your body will betray you. Why? Because the body is controlled by your subconscious, and the subconscious doesn't lie. This chapter is about training your brain to read that body, just like reading a sentence in a book. The 4 major body zones to watch. If you want to truly decode someone, observe their arms and hands, shoulders and chest, legs and feet, overall posture and movement. Each of these zones gives off emotional signals. Let's break them down with powerful real-life examples. Arms and hands. Openness versus defensiveness. The arms are like emotional shields. When someone feels safe, their arms will open up. When they feel threatened or uncomfortable, their arms will close in. Open signals. Arms relaxed at the sides. Palms facing up. Hands open or gesturing naturally. Arms on the table, not crossed. Defensive signals. Arms crossed across the chest. Hands clenched. Fidgeting or hiding hands under the table. Touching the neck, watch, or sleeves repeatedly. You're talking to a client during a negotiation. At first, his arms are relaxed. But when you mention your price, he folds his arms tightly and leans back. What does this tell you? Words might say, "That sounds reasonable." But the body is screaming, "I feel threatened. I'm pulling back." You just got free insight into how they really feel, without asking. Shoulders and chest, confidence or stress. The shoulders reveal tension, pressure, and emotional discomfort. And the chest tells you whether someone is proud or scared. Confident body language. Shoulders down and relaxed. Chest slightly lifted. Balanced stance. Head aligned with spine. Stressed or submissive body language. Shoulders raised and tight. Chest caved in. Head tilted downward or tucked in. You're interviewing 2 job candidates. Candidate A walks in, sits straight, shoulders back, hands on the table, relaxed smile. Candidate B walks in hunched, arms folded, shoulders high, and head slightly down. Even before they speak, your brain whispers, "Greater than candidate A owns the room. Candidate B is afraid of it." Legs and feet, where they want to go. This is one of the most ignored parts of body language, but also one of the most honest. Here's why. People can control their words. They try to control their face, but they almost never think about their feet. Foot signals. Feet pointed directly at you equals engaged. 1 foot pointed toward the door equals wants to leave. Shifting from foot to foot equals discomfort or nervousness. Legs crossed away from you equals emotional distance. Legs crossed toward you equals emotional openness. Imagine, you're on a first date. They're smiling, laughing, talking, but 1 foot is pointed sideways. They shift in their seat often. They keep glancing toward the entrance. What's happening? They're physically present, but mentally. They're planning their exit, and you just read the truth with your eyes. Overall posture. The energy they carry. Posture tells you what someone believes about themselves. Powerful posture. Upright, aligned spine. Shoulders relaxed. Head level, not tilted. Taking space confidently. Weak or submissive posture. Slouching. Neck pulled in. Shoulders collapsed. Body shrinking into itself. Example. You're at a group meeting. One person is sitting back, arms on chair, looking relaxed. Another is hunched over, biting a pen, scribbling nervously. Who do you listen to more? Even before they talk, the posture speaks. One feels in control. The other feels small. The body is a book, and every movement is a sentence. The arms speak protection or welcome. The shoulders tell you who's relaxed or stressed. The feet tell you who wants to be here and who doesn't. And posture tells you whether someone believes in themselves or wants to disappear. Start watching, because behavior is never silent. Chapter 5. Personal Space, the silent language of power, intimacy, and fear. Now that you understand how the body reveals the truth, let's talk about distance, because how close or far someone stands from you is not random. It's psychological, and it tells you exactly how they feel about themselves, you, the situation. This is called proxemics, the science of personal space. And it's one of the most accurate indicators of trust, fear, comfort, power, and dominance. According to psychology, there are 4 major zones. 1. Intimate space, 0 to 18 inches, used only for romantic partners, close family, lovers. If someone enters this space without permission, it causes discomfort or fear. 2. Personal space, 1.5 to 4 feet, used for friends, close colleagues. This is the most comfortable space for deep, real conversations. 3. Social space, 4 to 12 feet, used for acquaintances, formal events, strangers. Safe, neutral, watch for how long someone stays here before moving closer. 4. Public space, 12 plus feet, used for speeches, strangers, conflict zones. Distance equals separation, emotional or physical. What their distance says. Someone standing too close too soon equals aggressive, controlling, or lacking awareness. Someone standing too far for too long equals distant, unsure, emotionally closed. Someone slowly closing the gap equals building trust. Someone suddenly stepping back equals discomfort, fear, emotional shutdown. For example, you're meeting a new business partner. They greet you warmly but stay 3 to 4 feet away, neutral, respectful. As the meeting progresses, they slowly lean in, joke, and even tap your arm lightly. They've shifted from social space to personal space. This means trust is increasing. But if you say something challenging and they step back immediately or cross their arms, you just triggered fear or resistance, and they're creating emotional distance too. Warning: violating personal space equals emotional damage. Ever had someone stand too close too fast? It feels like they're attacking your energy. It doesn't matter if they're smiling. Your brain screams, greater than back off. You're not welcome here yet. This is why reading space is just as important as reading words. Distance is not just physical. It's emotional. When someone moves closer, they're opening up. When someone steps away, they're protecting themselves. You don't need to ask, do they trust me? Just watch the space between you. Chapter 6. The eyes. The mirror to the mind. There's a reason people say, look me in the eye. Because the eyes are the only part of the body that can't lie for long. You can fake a smile. You can say kind words. You can even pretend to laugh. But your eyes will always reveal your true emotions. This chapter will teach you how to read eye contact the right way, understand eye movement and blinking, spot lies, attraction, fear, confidence, and shame just by observing the eyes. Let's start with the basics. Eye contact, connection or control. Eye contact is one of the most misunderstood things in communication. Some people think more eye contact equals more honesty, but that's not always true. Here's the truth. Too little eye contact often means fear, lying, insecurity, shyness, guilt. Too much eye contact can mean trying too hard, hiding something, dominance, manipulation. Natural eye contact means relaxed confidence, openness, truth. Watch not just how long they look at you, but how they look at you. Imagine. You ask your friend if they're okay. They say, "I'm fine," and look straight into your eyes without blinking. It looks intense, almost forced. You feel something's off. That's your brain picking up that the eye contact isn't natural. It's controlled. They're trying to convince you, not connect with you. Pupil dilation. Hidden emotion. Pupils are the black center part of your eye. They get bigger when you're emotionally aroused, attracted to someone, excited, scared, or in low light. They get smaller when you're angry, cold, closed off, thinking analytically. If someone's eyes dilate when they look at you or talk about something, they care about it emotionally. If their pupils shrink, they're shutting down emotionally or feeling resistance. Example: you show a product idea to your business partner. They smile and say, "It's great." But their pupils remain small and their eyes seem cold. That's a sign they're not emotionally connected to what they're saying. Blink rate. Truth versus stress. Blinking is automatic, and most people blink 10 to 20 times per minute. But when someone is lying, nervous, thinking fast, or emotionally overwhelmed, their blink rate often increases dramatically. Some even blink rapidly for 2 to 3 seconds before answering. Eye movement patterns. When people look up and to the left, they're remembering. Up and to the right, they're constructing or imagining. Down, they're feeling emotional or guilty. Sideways, they're distracted or escaping mentally. So if someone looks up and right when telling you a story, they may be making it up. If they look down and away, they may be ashamed or emotionally vulnerable. Key emotional states in the eyes. Attraction equals dilated pupils, slow blinking, relaxed gaze. Fear equals wide eyes, rapid blinking, scanning room. Shame equals looking down, avoiding eye contact. Lying equals forced eye contact or sudden avoidance. Confidence equals steady, relaxed, natural eye contact. Don't just listen to words, watch the eyes. They are the only part of the body directly connected to the brain's emotional center. And they speak the truth, even when the mouth lies. Chapter 7. Facial expressions. The truth behind the mask. The face is the first place people look for emotion. But it's also the first place people try to hide it. The key skill you'll learn in this chapter is how to recognize micro-expressions. Tiny facial movements that last less than a second, but reveal exactly how someone feels. These expressions are uncontrollable. They flash before someone can fake it. Let's go through the 7 universal micro-expressions. 1. Anger. Eyebrows pulled down and together. Eyes glare. Lips pressed tight or curled. Jaw clenched, nostrils flared. A customer says calmly, "I'm not upset." But their eyebrows are tight and jaw is tense. You now know they're angry, but hiding it. 2. Disgust. Nose wrinkled. Upper lip raised. Head may turn away. Eyes may squint. Someone hears your idea in a meeting. They smile politely, but for a second, their nose wrinkles and their lip curls. They're disgusted, but trying to be polite. 3. Fear. Eyes wide open, eyebrows raised, mouth slightly open, breathing fast. 4. Surprise. Eyes wide, eyebrows up, jaw drops slightly. Difference from fear? Surprise is shorter and followed by another emotion, usually happiness or anger. 5. Sadness. Inner corners of eyebrows pulled up, eyes downcast, lips turned down, chin may tremble. This one is very hard to fake, especially the eyes. If someone is truly sad, their eyes lose brightness. 6. Happiness. Corners of lips pulled up, eyes crinkle at the edges, Very important. Cheeks lift. Fake smiles usually involve only the mouth. Real smiles involve the eyes. Always. 7. Contempt. One side of the mouth raised slightly, like a smirk, often combined with narrowed eyes. Contempt is dangerous. It means disrespect, superiority, and hidden dislike. Your friend says, "I'm happy for you," but their mouth twists slightly to one side. That's not support. That's envy disguised as kindness. Learn the face, not the fake face, but the flashes that escape before the performance begins. In just half a second, you can catch what someone really feels. Their mask may be perfect, but their face will still leak the truth. Chapter 8. The voice. How they say it reveals everything. Now let's move to the voice. One of the most powerful, subtle, and accurate tools for reading people. Because how people say things is often more important than what they say. This chapter will show you how to read tone, pitch, volume, speed, pauses, breathing patterns, and emotional energy in speech. Tone of voice, warm or cold. Tone is the emotion behind the words. A soft, warm tone equals comfort, love, trust. A sharp, cold tone equals anger, control, or detachment. A flat tone equals boredom or disinterest. Someone says, "I missed you." If their voice is low, soft, and calm, it's sincere. If it's high-pitched or flat, they might be acting or detached. Pitch. Confidence or insecurity. High pitch equals nervousness, anxiety, lying. Low, steady pitch equals calm, control, truth. People often raise their pitch when scared, especially when lying under pressure. Volume, dominance or submission. Loud equals confidence, dominance or aggression. Quiet equals insecurity, politeness or fear. Variable equals manipulation or emotional instability. Watch for sudden changes in volume. It often means emotional spikes. Speed, truth or stress. Fast talking equals nervousness, overthinking, pressure. Slow talking equals control, honesty, or anger suppression. Sudden speed up equals fear or excitement. If someone answers too fast, they might be trying to rush past your attention. If they pause, breathe, and answer slowly, they're likely thinking clearly. Pauses and hesitation. Silence is powerful. People who lie often pause unnaturally. People who are confident use silence to their advantage. You ask, "Why didn't you tell me this before?" They pause for 4 seconds and then say, "I didn't think it mattered." That pause tells you the truth. They knew it mattered. They were just figuring out what to say. Breathing and sighs. Heavy breathing equals stress. Sighing equals frustration or exhaustion. Short breaths equals anxiety or fear. Deep, slow breaths equals calm, emotional control. You don't need a lie detector. You already have one. Your ears. If you slow down and listen to how people speak, you'll begin to hear their heart, not just their words. Chapter 9. Speech patterns. Word choice never lies. At first glance, you might think body language is more important than speech. But if you listen closely, not just to what someone says, but how they say it, the structure of their sentences, the words they repeat, the details they avoid, you'll discover their inner world. This chapter shows you how people's speech habits expose their mindset, reveal their emotions, and often contradict their body language. If someone's behavior and speech don't match, that mismatch is your clue. Let's break it down. Over-explaining. When people feel nervous, guilty, or insecure, they talk too much. They give unnecessary details to sound convincing. But in reality, they're trying to hide something or overcompensate. You ask, "Did you send the email?" A confident person will say, "Yes, I did." around 2 p.m., but a nervous person might say, yeah, I sent it. I was actually just checking my inbox and realized I hadn't sent it yet, so I opened it and double-checked everything, and I even made sure the attachment was there. Then I hit send. All that extra talking? It's not information. It's anxiety leaking through words. Repeating the question. When people repeat your question before answering, it often means they're buying time or trying to control their answer. You say, "Did you take the money?" And they respond, "Did I take the money?" Pause. Then, "No, I didn't." That delay, that mirror, is not natural. It's mental editing. Honest answers don't need repetition. They just come out. Avoiding I statements. People who are lying or emotionally distant often avoid saying I. They'll say, "It got done," instead of "I did it." Mistakes were made, instead of "I made a mistake." That's just how things turned out, instead of "I caused this." If someone always removes themselves from the story, they may be hiding guilt, afraid of blame, emotionally disconnected. Language becomes a shield, and you're trained to see it now. Abrupt changes in tone or style. You're talking normally, then suddenly, their voice flattens. They become robotic. Their sentences get shorter. The words get safer. It means they've entered emotional defense mode. Their mouth is speaking, but their brain has shut the door. You're talking to your partner about vacation plans. Then you ask, "Have you talked to your ex recently?" They instantly go from playful to, "No, why would I?" Watch for that emotional shift. That's when the truth gets hidden. Word filters. To be honest, and honestly. When someone begins a sentence with, "To be honest, honestly," if I'm being real, ask yourself, what were they being before this sentence? These are verbal flags, not always lies, but often signals that they're now shifting from fake to real or from real to fake. It's your job to notice the moment. Words don't just carry meaning. They carry intention, emotion, and fear. By watching someone's speech patterns, you'll stop hearing just information and start hearing what they're hiding, what they regret, what they're afraid to say, and what they want you to believe. Listen smarter, speak less, see more. Chapter 10. Detecting Lies. The 5 Silent Clues of Deception. Now we reach one of the most powerful and requested skills of all. How to tell when someone is lying. Let's be honest, everyone lies. Sometimes to protect others, sometimes to protect themselves, sometimes to manipulate and control. But here's the secret. Lies are heavy, and the body struggles to carry them. This chapter will show you the 5 most reliable clues that someone is not telling the truth, even if their words sound perfect. These are not guesses. These are research-backed behaviors found in thousands of lie detection studies. Let's uncover the truth. 1. The body and words don't match. This is the most powerful lie detector. If someone says, "I'm really excited about this," but their arms are crossed, their voice is flat, and their feet are pointed away, you believe the body, not the mouth. Truth is smooth. Lies create tension, and that tension shows up as mismatch. 2. Too many details. Lies require construction. Truth flows naturally. If someone gives you way more information than needed, they might be creating a fake story, trying to sound believable, overcompensating for guilt. Example. "Yeah, I left work early. I mean, traffic was bad, but I stopped by the grocery store to get milk, and then I realized I forgot my wallet, so I had to turn back." Too much, too fast. That's not a story. That's a cover-up. 3. Delayed or forced emotion. When someone is truly sad, angry, or happy, the emotion comes before the words. Their face shows it naturally. But liars often reverse it. First they speak, then they try to act the emotion. This is called emotional leakage. Example: I'm so sorry for what I did. Then comes the frown, then the eye contact, but only after the words. It feels wrong, and your instinct knows it. 4. Vocal tension and breathing. Liars often clear their throat, speak in a higher pitch, pause more, breathe faster. Because lying creates physiological stress. The body enters fight or flight mode, and you can hear it if you stop and listen. 5. Sudden grooming or discomfort. When someone lies, they often touch their neck, scratch their head, adjust their clothes, rub their hands together, fidget with objects. These are self-soothing actions. Their body trying to release the tension the lie is creating. Watch for these the moment you ask a direct question. The truth stands tall. Lies wobble. If you learn to watch tension, timing, tone, and behavioral mismatch, you won't just hear the lie. You'll see it happening. You won't need proof. You'll feel it in your bones, because your subconscious mind already knows. And now your conscious mind knows too. Chapter 11. Personality clues. What behavior tells you about someone's core identity? Now we go beyond reactions and lies, into something deeper. This chapter is about understanding who someone really is, not just what they're feeling today, but what they believe about themselves, their worldview, their core emotional identity. Because the way someone moves, speaks, reacts, and carries themselves, all of it reveals the story they tell themselves internally. Let's learn how to decode it. 1. The confident versus the insecure. Confident people. Take space, use stillness, maintain steady eye contact. Don't rush their words. Speak from their chest, not their throat. Insecure people. Shrink, move constantly, avoid eye contact, talk too much or too little. Hesitate before answering. You don't need to ask, are they confident? Just watch them walk into a room. 2. The honest versus the people pleaser. Honest people. Say no without apology. Set boundaries clearly. Admit when they don't know something. Look relaxed even when disagreeing. People pleasers. Laugh too quickly. Agree too fast. Say yes while their body says no. Apologize for existing. The more someone tries to please everyone, the more they abandon themselves. And you'll see it in their behavior. 3. The dominator versus the manipulator. Dominator. Leads directly. Makes decisions out loud. Accepts conflict when needed. Stays consistent in behavior. Manipulator. Plays nice, then plays victim. Uses passive aggression. Avoids direct answers. Changes personality based on who's watching. The difference is control. One leads to serve. The other controls to feed ego or weakness. Watch their patterns over time. You'll know. You don't need a personality test. You just need to observe. People reveal themselves in how they react to pressure, how they treat those with no power, how they speak when nobody's watching, how they change or stay the same. Once you can read someone's behavior as a pattern, not just a moment, you'll know their true character. And when you know someone's character, you can protect your life, your time, your energy, and your future. Chapter 12. Emotional triggers. Reading reactions that reveal deep pain. Sometimes people don't tell you what's bothering them. They say, it's nothing. They say, I'm over it. They say, it doesn't matter anymore. But then they explode, or go silent, or act cold for the rest of the day. This chapter is about learning to read those emotional triggers, moments when something small causes a big reaction, revealing a wound that hasn't healed. What is an emotional trigger? A trigger is not the pain itself. It's the thing that activates the pain. It could be a certain word, a facial expression, a type of joke, a question, a reminder of someone from the past, a situation where they felt powerless once. Most emotional triggers are rooted in rejection, abandonment, failure, betrayal, being ignored, being judged. When triggered, people don't act like themselves. They act like the younger version of themselves, the one that first felt the wound. How to read a triggered reaction. Watch for sudden mood changes, overreactions to small events, body tightening, clenched fists, locked jaw, eyes getting distant or angry, silence that wasn't there before, a fake smile that suddenly appears. These are all signs that something invisible just got touched. And now the real person is reacting from emotion, not logic. Imagine, you say during a conversation, "I just think you could have handled that better." Your friend instantly shuts down, stops talking, and avoids eye contact. You didn't insult them, but you accidentally touched their wound, maybe from years of being told they were never good enough. They weren't reacting to you. They were reacting to all the moments in their past where they felt judged. Understanding this can prevent conflict, build empathy, give you massive emotional intelligence. How triggers reveal true emotional history. People's triggers will tell you what they haven't healed from, what they deeply fear, what they secretly desire, where their emotional walls are. For example, a person who gets angry when ignored is probably afraid of abandonment. Someone who hates criticism likely fears not being enough. A person who jokes too much during serious conversations may be afraid of vulnerability. Watch how people react to the smallest things, because it's in those moments, when their voice shifts, their body freezes, or their mood flips, that you'll see the real story they've been carrying. Emotional triggers don't lie. They don't ask for permission. They simply reveal. This chapter teaches you not just how to read people, but how to understand their emotional past. And when you understand someone's past, you stop fighting the person in front of you. You start connecting with the pain behind them. Chapter 13. Group Dynamics. Understanding social power, silence, and energy. We've learned how to read individuals. But what happens when there are multiple people in a room? This is where things get more complex and more powerful. This chapter is about learning to read. Group power dynamics. Unspoken leadership. Who is dominant? Who is submissive? Who is fake? How people behave when others are watching. How silence and body language change based on who's around. This is the difference between being socially smart and being socially blind. The room within the room. Every group has a hidden structure. You'll almost never hear it spoken, but you can always see it. Who sits at the center of the group? Who talks the most? Who interrupts without fear? Who everyone turns to after someone speaks? Who laughs first and who watches before laughing? Who avoids eye contact and who makes too much of it? These clues reveal who holds power, who craves attention, who is being ignored, who is afraid to speak, who dominates through presence, not volume. In a team meeting, one person barely speaks, but whenever they nod or comment, everyone listens. Another person talks constantly, but nobody reacts. One has power. The other is just noise. Group dynamics are never about volume. They're about respect, presence, and positioning. In groups, the most powerful people are often the most quiet. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't speak unless it matters. Their body language says, "I'm in control. I don't chase approval." Meanwhile, those who feel invisible often fidget, interrupt, talk too fast, make jokes when silence appears. Look for validation through the group. You don't need to judge this, just observe it. Power is not always loud, but it's always noticed. In a group, people try to fit in, hide weakness, perform for status, imitate the dominant person, pretend to be confident when they're afraid. Watch how someone behaves when they're with friends, with authority, with strangers, with people they're trying to impress. People change masks. And when you know what to look for, you'll see the mask before they even wear it. Every room tells a story, without words. The group dynamic shows you who they admire, who they follow, who they pretend to like, who they quietly fear, and who they want to become. Don't just listen to what people say in groups. Watch what the group allows, because in silence, laughter, eye contact, and posture, the real power structure is always visible. Chapter 14. Training the Observer's Mind. How to see everything without saying anything. Now we reach the chapter that changes your life. Because up until now, you've been learning techniques, skills, and cues. But this chapter teaches you a mindset, a way of seeing, a new identity. It's the observer's mind, the ability to walk into any room, any situation, any conversation, and see what others miss. Observation is a superpower. People who observe deeply, speak less, understand more, avoid drama without saying a word, detect danger before it shows, build better relationships, create stronger businesses, protect their energy and peace. Most people don't listen. They wait to speak. They react. They defend. They talk to win. But the observer? The observer sits quietly, listens fully, watches without judgment, learns everything. How to train the observer's mind? 1. Slow down your reactions. Don't rush to respond. Let silence reveal. The longer you pause, the more they reveal themselves. 2. Notice patterns, not just moments. Don't judge someone for one action. Watch for repeated behaviors. Patterns equals truth. 3. Use curiosity, not judgment. Ask, what is this person really trying to say? What are they hiding? What emotion is behind that smile? 4. Listen to your body. Your gut knows before your brain does. If you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or unsure, trust the signal and investigate. 5. Detach from your need to be liked. If you're desperate to be accepted, you won't see the truth. You'll only see what you hope to see. But if you're calm, clear, and grounded, people will show you exactly who they are. Example: you meet someone new. They're charming, funny, confident, loud. Everyone seems to love them. But something in you feels off. So you stay quiet. You watch. Over time, you notice. They interrupt others often. They only talk about themselves. They never apologize. They change personalities depending on who's nearby. That charm was performance. But because you observed without jumping in, you saw the actor behind the act. This is your power now. Don't chase attention. Chase truth. Train your eyes. Train your ears. Train your gut. And soon, you won't just read people like a book. You'll read the whole room, the whole energy, the whole truth, without saying a single word. Chapter 15. Deep psychology. What drives people more than logic? You've come a long way. You've learned to read body language, micro-expressions, tone, space, voice, patterns, lies, personalities, and pain. But if you stop there, you'll only see what people do. To go deeper, you must understand why they do it. And the truth is this: most people are not driven by logic. They are driven by emotion, insecurity, fear, guilt, pride, pain, and unconscious beliefs they don't even know they carry. This is the final and ultimate lesson in learning how to read people. You must learn to read what controls them. And what controls them is usually childhood wounds, emotional programming, learned fears, invisible trauma, repeated emotional patterns, and a desperate need to be accepted, seen, and loved. Let's break it down. 1. People want to feel significant. This is one of the strongest emotional needs in the world. Whether someone is loud, quiet, controlling, shy, funny, fake, powerful, behind almost every behavior is a deep craving to feel important, even for a moment. You'll see it in the person who constantly interrupts. They're terrified of being forgotten. The one who brags nonstop. They feel like they've never been enough. The one who says, "I don't care what people think." Often they care the most. The one who agrees with everything. They're scared of being rejected. The one who flirts with everyone. They just want to feel worthy of love. Underneath the mask is always the same pain. Am I enough? And every behavior is an attempt to answer that question. 2. People are ruled by fear, even when they pretend to be brave. We all want to believe we're strong, logical, and in control. But underneath, most people are scared. Scared of failure, scared of embarrassment, scared of being judged, scared of being alone, scared of losing control, scared of not being good enough. So instead of saying, "I'm scared," people behave in strange ways. They avoid responsibility. They attack others first. They pretend to be confident. They stay busy so they never feel. They criticize, gossip, or compete to hide their own insecurity. When you understand this, you stop taking people's behavior personally. You start seeing the pain that's running the show. A boss keeps shouting at his team, always blaming, never appreciating. To others, he seems arrogant. But to you, with this final lens, you see it clearly. He's not strong. He's not confident. He's just a scared man pretending to be powerful, because deep down he feels invisible. That understanding doesn't make him right, but it makes you powerful. Because now you're not reacting. You're reading. 3. Every behavior is a strategy for an emotion. If someone always criticizes others, it's a strategy to feel superior, avoids confrontation. It's a strategy to stay safe, lies often. It's a strategy to protect their image, jokes nonstop. It's a strategy to distract from vulnerability, controls everything. It's a strategy to feel secure, shuts down. It's a strategy to avoid emotional pain. No one wakes up thinking, "I'll lie, manipulate, hide, or fake today." But their emotional brain says, "Do whatever it takes to survive, to avoid pain, to feel love, to stay in control." Your job is not to fix people. Your job is not to judge them. Your job is to observe and see the truth behind the mask. So you don't take their behavior as fact. You take it as data. People are not logical creatures. They are emotional beings, using behavior to protect themselves from pain. To truly read people like a book, you must stop focusing only on what they do and start understanding what drives them, what scares them, what made them, and what they're still running from. If you do this, you'll stop reacting. You'll stop doubting yourself. You'll stop chasing fake love and shallow praise. And you'll finally stand in quiet power, seeing the full truth without needing to control anyone, because you've already mastered the only thing that matters: your own awareness. You've just completed one of the most important, most powerful, and most life-changing summaries ever created. This wasn't just a book. This was a blueprint to emotional intelligence, powerful communication, quiet confidence, and unshakable awareness. You've learned how to read eyes, voices, body language, space, personality, emotions, pain, lies, group energy, deep human psychology. And in doing so, you've not only learned how to read others, you've started learning how to understand yourself. Because the truth is, when you start observing people, you begin to observe your own triggers. When you stop reacting to others, you stop reacting to yourself. And when you stop being blind to the truth, you stop being fooled by the world. This skill is not about controlling people. It's not about winning conversations. It's about living in truth, trusting your instinct, seeing what others miss, and protecting your peace, your energy, and your future. Now, before we end, here's a message for you, the listener, the student, the observer, the warrior. You are not weak for being sensitive. You are not stupid for trusting the wrong people. You are not broken because you couldn't read the signs before. You're just becoming aware now, and that changes everything. You don't need to talk louder. You don't need to explain more. You don't need to prove anything. From now on, your silence will speak. Your energy will lead. Your eyes will see. And your mind will understand. You have learned to read people like a book, but the most powerful chapter will always be the one you write for yourself. If you found this video powerful, if it changed how you think, if it helped you understand the world a little better, then don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe for more videos like this. Comment what part hit you the hardest, and share this with someone who needs to see the truth and protect their heart. Your support helps this message reach millions, and your journey to self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and quiet confidence is just beginning. Thank you for being here. This was Read People Like a Book, full life-changing summary. I'll see you in the next video. Stay powerful, stay aware, and never stop observing. The world is speaking. Now you know how to listen.